Welcome, friends. My name is Avinash and I welcome all of you to another interesting episode of Face to Face Corporate Series. Friends, in this Face to Face Corporate Series, we introduce emerging corporates and talk to them about their business model, their business growth plans, and their business journey. And in this process, we introduce many interesting companies to you. And today, we have a very interesting company by the name of Vinsys IT Services Limited, which is based in Pune and which has got operations in Middle East, India, as well as the US. And we have the pleasure of having the chairman and managing director of the company, Mr. Vikrant Patil. Vikrantji, thank you very much for sparing your valuable time with us. I'm sure
Thank
that
you.
today's interaction will help us understand your company better.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, Vikrantji, my first question is if you could, tell us something about our company's business model, because, we hear a lot about corporate training, and Vinsys is a very popular branded name in this space. But, what is the business model of our company? If you could explain it in a very simple way for our viewers. And in short, if you could tell us, how your business journey started, which would also, interest a lot of our viewers, how you started your journey and how, the progression has happened.
Thank you for the kind words, actually. So I will rather answer your second question first and the first question later. So I will answer as to how I started this business. So basically, I was an Aptech franchisee in 1999. That's where we started. We came into the corporate or a training domain, as we can say, and then that was in a place called Karad, which is near Satara. So I come from a place, a small town in Satara, and then I shifted to Pune where I did the Aptech. I had an Aptech franchise in Pune. So for me, there was a big shift. And after doing my engineering and MBA in Australia, I wanted to come back to Pune as early as possible because Pune is the place of opportunity. So that's where I started. And being a Aptech franchisee, I was into the training domain already, but that was into the retail training. So the students would come in and we would train them and then try and place them. So the ultimate goal was to place them. So that is how I understood the training domain, and that led me to the corporate training company I have today and which we are going to list shortly. So corporate training business is something wherein we train all the people who are already employed. So we would have contracts with the companies, the big IT companies, big Fortune 500 companies are our customers, and we've been training them for last 20 years now, and that's repeatedly we are doing the same thing for them. So that proves our quality of training because we already are ISO certified. The quality standards are already maintained what are required for a company to deliver repeated trainings. So we train those who are employed. So it's not the student who pays, it's the corporate who pays. So they get a lot of projects and they want to reskill their people, and that is where we come into picture. So the business model is B2B, and the Aptech model was B2C. So we are into B2B model.
Okay. Uh, which are the other businesses, in fact, Vikrantji, if you could give us some flavor on the digital, learning solution business,
So,
the
so
IT development.
primarily, yes. So primarily we are into corporate training, but then it unfolds a lot of other avenues also for us. So apart from the corporate training, which was pre-COVID, it was face to face, the trainer interacting in the classroom. Post COVID, the dynamics have changed, and dynamics have changed for a good, and we are riding that wave. So it's all online training which we do. So the trainer will sit in our office, and the participants will attend it from like what we are doing now. So similar to that is the mode which has happened. That's the online training. But apart from that, there is also digital learning or e-learning platform, e-learning courses which we say, which are the recorded courses, which are the titles which off the shelf which we call, they are already there. So we have almost around 100,000 titles like that when the courses have been developed and they are already there, which is the e-learning module. So that is the digital learning division does that for us. One is the face to face, the other one is the digital e-learning module. So that is another part of the business which we do, and that is more popular, less popular. Yes, in India also it's popular, but we do that more in the Middle East and in the US. So that's one portion of it. The second division what we have is our software development. So we do a lot of software development work for most of the clients because we are into training. It's as good as consulting what we do. So those are the customers who came back to us saying that you do train us. Why don't you solve our problems as well in terms of a project? So they have given us some software to develop the bespoke is what we call that, and when we do develop the software as per requirement, so we do that. And then also we bid for bigger projects in the government sector in India, wherein recently we were all over the news channels because we did create a teacher transfer product which was required for Maharashtra government. They wanted their transfers of their teachers to be done online, and there should be no access of a human. So nobody should intervene. There's no intervention of a human being. So it has to be done through the machine. And that there was criteria which were given to us based on which we created a software in blockchain technology, wherein there will be an user ID password given to an individual, and if he enters only, then it goes ahead. And that was clearly done, and it was successfully implemented. And we were there were a lot of accolades which we got for this particular project that was under the software development. So we've done almost 30,000 transfers of teacher without intervention of a human being, and that was very very transparent. So government wanted to in a transparent mode of transfers, and that was implemented by us. So that is our another division. So that has led us to a lot of other more such projects which because of this successful implementation. So that is the area in the digital that is the area in the software development arm. We also do some part of foreign language training and translation also. That's one more division. And we also have a manpower division wherein we hire people, we train them, and we deploy them to the customer place. So these are the four separate pillars in what we do business in.
Fine. I think Vikranji very well articulated by you. Now, Vikranji,
Thank
tell
you.
me one thing that as of March 23, that is for this current year, if you could give us a rough kind of segmental breakup, how much came from corporate training, how much came from digital, how much came from manpower solutions, just to get a broad breakup. And my second question to you, Vikranji, would be that, out of these businesses, which have been the fastest growing businesses for you in the last, say, 2 to 3 years? So if you could, add some color on that.
Sure, sure. So our mix of this is I would rather put in the last year we had done almost 50% of revenue came from the training division. That's the corporate training division. Almost around 35%, 30 to 35% came from the digital learning uh, thing and the manpower part of it. And then the 15% of revenue came in from our software development arm. So currently, and because our software development arm has been just 3 to 4 years old, there's a lot of potential in that. So going forward this year, we see a huge growth in the software development revenue coming up. So we might see the revenue doubling for our company, but in that mostly software development will increase. Corporate training will also increase by a little bit, but it is already more than 50%. So the growth in that will become a little bit up to 60% of the revenue coming in. Plus the software development arm, which we have bid a lot of projects with this new product being in place, that will grow to almost 25% to 30%, and the remaining will be from the manpower and digital. And to answer your second question as to last couple of years, what has been growth? It has been always been to corporate training, which has been growing because that was our flagship company, and that is what we were pushing. Now these are the added advantages which we have with our other companies. So going forward, all we see growth in everywhere. So in every sector we see the growth.
Okay. Vikranji, now just to get a little more macro perspective about the corporate training market in India as well as abroad. You all have been present in Middle East in a very big way. Plus, in India, you all are already very, dominant on the corporate training side. How big, can be the market opportunity for you over the next, say, 2 to 3 years? Because this is the growing segment, and whether it is recession or whether it is a boom, I think corporate training is always in demand. So, in your sense, what could be the kind of opportunity for growth over the, say, next 2 to 3 years, especially for corporate training?
So corporate training is very close to our heart. So the growth there seems to be very, very high and very, very promising. In the Middle East, we have acquired two small companies and there I can proudly say that we are the number one as far as corporate training is concerned in the Middle East. I would say in the UAE, Dubai and Abu Dhabi is the area where we ourselves are very happy to claim that we are number one there. There is a potential, a huge potential in expanding there, because there are a lot of companies which are coming in there, and there's a lot of training requirement which is coming. The awareness is grown. So in Middle East, we have increased to South, we have extended our foothold into Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Qatar. So there we see a huge potential. Saudi Arabia especially is a very booming for our training industry as far as we are concerned. So that is a big potential there in for corporate training. Similarly, in Qatar is what we see. Coming back to India, yes, we are at times very lucky when there's a recession, because there are a lot of fly-by-night operators who die their own death, and then it cleans the system altogether. So post recession or post COVID, there is always a boom where there is a wave which we need to always capture, and we have done that in the past. We have seen the 2001 recession, we have seen the 2008 recession, then post that we have seen the recessions happening. So post COVID, there was a huge potential, and we have grown on that. So what we are also planning now here is we've extended our team size in locations. So predominantly we are based out of Pune. So we tried to extend. So there is a lot of opportunity in India to grow now, and if you see, there are regional competition is what we will have, but pan India we want to be. There is very hardly any competition which is left. So that is a big opportunity for us now to capture that whole market which is available for us in India. Similarly, in the US, we are extending our teams. We are hiring more people in the US, and there we see a huge potential. And their profitability is very high. The only reason is because our trainer base is mostly from India. So
Okay.
the back office happens to be India, and our trainers are there. Our trainers are well accepted in the US also when they do the training from here,
Okay.
and so that is also a big opportunity for us. So
Uh,
we are in a sweet spot.
Ranji, just one small question on the customer base. I was seeing your company presentation. So you all have got the top end customers in almost all the verticals you all service. But in terms of customer concentration, what could be the top five customer concentration? Is it reasonably large, or is it evenly spread out across, lot many customers? And secondly, what could be the total active customer base which you enjoy?
Oh, so if we add Middle East, US, and India put together, we are at least having more than 600 customers right now, out of which actively there would be at least 300 customers who are repeatedly giving us business.
Okay.
We are very happy that the top five consist of a lot of customers. So otherwise, it's always dicey. When we started, we had only one customer in 2001, that was IBM, which we are proudly say that we still have IBM, and we still deliver training even after 23 years. So, but initially it was 100% IBM. Now today in our whole revenue share, though the top line has increased, but still IBM is not among the top five. So that gives us an advantage that there are a lot of companies who are there. So I would rather say, if you really want to name, we have companies like Cognizant, IBM, Accenture, Wipro, Infosys, Vodafone, Deutsche Bank. They're all our customers who are being giving us repeated business, and they're all Fortune 500 companies.
I think very well articulated, Vikranji. I think a very solid customer base, which puts your company in a very good position. Now, tell me one thing from a financial standpoint, for your digital learning solution products, e-learning products, and corporate training, how is the pricing decided every year? Like, is it customized as per the client requirements, or do you have a standardized product which is offered to everybody? I mean, is there some sort of customization for the product and the pricing is decided accordingly?
Yes, it is both the points are considered. There are few courses which are set courses, and there are few courses which are customized courses. The pricing, so our courses typically because we reskill people, so they are already people. So there are two types of market segment in a company. When the fresher join in, they are already they also we do the training for the freshers. That is a long duration course, but that happens in that's a periodic uh, type of a training which we do, which starts from when freshers join. join in from July to September. But throughout the year, we train the senior people. So when we train the senior people, it is the maximum course duration is between 16 hours to 40 hours. And our courses are always full day. So it is 2 day to 5 day, maximum 5 day course. So that is where the course, the pricing is based on the course content, which is customized based on the trainer profile, based on the trainer experience, and based on the participant experience. So the courses can be basic, intermediate, or advanced. The more the advanced the course is, the more contents are difficult to teach. And then we need a very, very senior trainer for that. So we have a pool of trainers based on their experience. So the pricing is based on the content, which is, if it is advanced, then the pricing is high. If it is intermediate, it is little lesser, and if it is in a basic course, then it is much lesser. But it is per day basis in a batch of 20. So 20 students. So it's not per candidate wise. It is per day basis. For 5 days, we decide the training fees. Now, if it is a standard certification oriented course, then it is per participant base. So it varies.
Fine. Vikrantji, now coming to the business model of Vinsys, you all have been in the industry for a very long time. So now, how do you differentiate Vinsys with other players in the industry? Obviously, there is competition in every industry. So, what is so special about Vinsys? If you could, give us some qualitative kind of points from your side, making tell us that how Vinsys has differentiated itself from competition, and how fierce is competition? Like, do you have many competitors, or you do have very select people who compete with you? If you could give some color on that.
Sure. So our customers are our main asset, what we always say, and our trainers are our main asset. So there are a couple of advantages which we have. So we are partners to most of the OEMs. So that is uniqueness. Like, for example, we are partners to Oracle, we are partners to AWS, we are partners to SAP, we are partners to Microsoft. So this is a uniqueness, and for quite some time we are partners. We are there with them for last 20 years. So that is one wherein, because then we being partners to the OEM, we get access to their the new curriculum which comes in. We get access to their labs. We get access to their courseware. We get access to the certifications which they offer, and our trainers are also trained by them. So that is a uniqueness. For a new person to come in to get this partnership is difficult. So that is major difference what we have. Two, we have these clients which have been, so we are vendors for these clients for last 20 years, which is very, very difficult now to get a new vendor to be onboarded for a particular client. It's a big process, and it's avoided. So that's another advantage which we have. Three, the differentiator we have is our trainer base. The huge trainer base and the experience which we have for so many years is a major differentiator, and we have been working with the same trainers for quite some time now. So that is the relationship which we have built, and these trainers are really valued in the industry. Four, we have the capacity to deliver the same trainings all across the globe. So that is also a differentiator, because all these companies whom we cater, they have their offices all across the globe, and they want the same quality of training to be delivered to every employee of theirs. So that is our major differentiator. So coming back to the last question is, how do you deal with the competition? Yes, we do have competition, but we have a regional level competition. We will have competition with a company in Maharashtra. That company may not exist in Karnataka. Similarly, vice versa. So we have that advantage of being pan-India and pan-global present. So it gives an opportunity for even, and then we have such a varied experience we have varied client base. So even our trainers get that exposure to train everywhere. So our same trainer will train people in India or in Dubai or in the US. So even the trainers get associated. So these are few USPs which is very difficult to replicate for a new person to come in and do that. So this
I
is a
think,
unique.
yeah. I think really, I think very well articulated, Vikrantji. I think this is something which is your very strong competitive moat in this industry.
Yes. Yes.
Vikrantji, now coming to your financials, I think FY23 has been a very solid year for you. 90 crores plus revenue, 15 crores profit. Now, what is your sense? Without giving numbers, Vikranji, if you could just share your outlook, what is the outlook for the next 2 years? Will we see better kind of performances from the company going forward based on whatever, demand conditions you're foreseeing as of now?
Yeah, so we had a similar investors meet in the morning today, and I was asked the same question, but I was asked not to answer that by our merchant banker because forward
No,
is
we are not
something right
asking
now.
you any questions, any numbers,
No, no.
Vikranji. So please
So
be
we are
rest
saying
assured.
no, no. I was just, that was on a lighter note, but we are in a very sweet spot, and we've grown, and there's a lot of opportunities which are available. And then since we are coming with an IPO, so working capital would not be a hindrance for us going forward. So we have a huge plans. We have a lot of pipeline which is being there. The funds would be deployed in all funds will be deployed in expansion. So next couple 3 years at least, we are going to on a trajectory where we feel that we should at least double our revenues every year.
Okay. Vikranji, now coming to the IPO, if you could, share some details, because as you said, the broader details are available in the prospectus, but just if you could share some broader detail, what is the size of the IPO, what is the price at which the shares are going to be offered, that would be really helpful for our viewers.
So currently, our IPO opens on 1st of August till 4th of August. We have got around 39 lakh shares on the offer. The IPO size would be around 50 crores, and the price band is between rupees 121 to 128, and we would be listing on our SME Emerge platform, NAC.
And Vikranji, what is the main objective apart from working capital? Any other purpose for the money being raised?
So very nice question, and we have planned the whole issue which is going to come in, and all the 50 crores has been planned properly. One part of that is just a working capital. The other three parts of it is, one is we as I said, we will increase our locations, and we will the locations is the US and Saudi Arabia, which we have already started our work. We will hire new team, the sales team. Obviously, the back office and the trainers would be support would be given from India and Middle East. We also have a set of trainers in the US also. So, but majority of that will be done. So we need sales team. So that some portion would go towards that. We are very good in acquiring companies and turning them around in the similar domain. We don't want to go into any other domain and acquire any company. It gives us a lot of advantage. So some portion will go towards acquiring few companies. We have already identified a few companies. We are already in talks with them in an advanced stage, and they complement our offerings. So some portion would go into acquisition, some portion into working capital, some portion into expansion, and the fourth part will get into, as I said, because we have created this software development team, which is a big team now, and they have been bidding for a lot of projects, and we've got all the certifications there, and we have all the products there. We will see currently, because of the working capital crunch, we were not bidding in all the projects because there's a lot of EMD is required, earnest money deposit is required while we bid. So this some portion is allocated to bid for the projects, which we definitely have that advantage that we will be able to achieve that. So it's been divided into 4 different parts.
Okay. Understood. I think, Vikranji, now you are talking about working capital funding. Now, if you could tell us very broadly, for your domestic customers and your export customers, what could be the, typical working capital cycle? Like, is it a slightly lengthy period by the time, you get your collections from your customers? If you could add some
Very
color.
nice. If my customers would have been listening to this, I would have been very happy to answer this question because that is the biggest. All our customers are MNCs. We have a zero bad debt, but the cycle itself is everybody has a pressure. So the cycle is at least 60 to 90 days. So 90 days is what, and it's just in the system. So everybody has, all our customers has some or the other ERP installed, and it comes go through that process, but it is 90 days. Even in international market in Middle East, it is the same. So at times it is 90 days is what we have to wait for, whereas US also now has started getting into 60 days. So that is our biggest challenge, and that's why working capital is always required
Okay.
for us.
Understood. I think this is a very typical norm in the service industry, Vikranji. Vikranji,
Yes.
one important thing which I wanted to understand, from an analyst point of view, is that, normally for manufacturing companies, we look at the capacity utilization, but we are a service-driven company. So in our company, how do you actually assess that, you're utilizing all your trainers optimally? And is there any criteria by which, we can understand your company better by saying that, okay, you've got 100 trainers and almost 90 to 95 trainers are used across all your, verticals. So is there any parameter by which we can judge the utilization of your talent of the talented team which you have? And secondly, in terms of the incremental capex, would you be only be looking at inorganic opportunities? Only for that you will require some hard capex, or otherwise it's a flat opex model which you run?
Okay. So utilization wise, yes, there is a proper utilization which we see about our trainers. But the only thing is that in our service industry there are different models of trainers. We have few trainers on our roles, but there are a lot of trainers who are on contract as well, and different types of contracts. Some would be as and when required, some would be on the fixed contract, some would be on a 15-day contract, somebody would be on a week's contract, based on the expertise and based on the requirements of the technologies which they train. So understanding on the utilization would be a little difficult, but yes, definitely there is also one another parameter is that what we see is the number of inquiries which we receive and how much is converted. So that is also a parameter as to, because there are a lot of inquiries. So in a day, typically, if we get 100 inquiries, we always say that it's at least 20 to 25% is what is the current conversion ratio for us, which we want to increase.
Okay.
And that depends on number of trainers, the dates, availability of the dates, the contents which have been mentioned. So there are a lot of, so that is one parameter which we look at. And we are always so that is a major parameter which we look at as to number of inquiries, how much we get in, so in the training domain. The second question, I think, which you asked us was the capex and opex model about as to inorganic. Yes, to answer that, we already are looking at, as I said, acquiring few companies. So that will be small companies which are in our similar line. But otherwise, as you rightly said, increasing the sales engine, and then there's now with this digital world coming in, there's a lot of spend which goes into the digital marketing. So that is area wherein lead generation happens to the digital marketing team. There's a call center team. So the expenses now have gone the towards the digital team rather than to the actual people on the feet on the street. So their sky is the limit. The more you spend, the more the locations you can go to, the more regions you can go to. So our currently our growth plan is to establish Middle East and become one. Number one, we are in UAE, but we want to make it in the whole Middle East. Similarly, we want to expand in the US, and then we definitely have a lot of potential in Europe and Africa.
Okay.
So that becomes our next market. But yes, as you rightly said, our majority of the expenses would be towards the marketing digital team and expansion of the locations and few inorganic growth.
Okay. Vikranji, one small question which has come out from your answer is that, can we assume that scalability in your business is a clear function on how much you spend on digital and on your trainers? More money put on digital and more money put on trainers will automatically lead to revenue growth. Can this assumption be right?
This assumption can be right for us because we are established backend and we have established trainers. So we
Yeah.
don't need to increase that. But once to reach this stage of having a backend, strong backend, it itself is a huge, humongous task. Now, yes, we can say that expansion can happen that way. Plus, the software development team which we are talking about, there we have exponential growth which we see because we will be bidding in for more projects, and we will be definitely getting more convergence in that software development, which is an exponential growth which nobody can imagine, because we know what pipeline we are working on, and that's huge pipeline in software development. So that is one advantage which we have. And two, we want to invest into digital learning content team. So that is also something which we want to, because currently we are shifting to creating our own content for our companies. So for that, we need to have our existing team to be there in place. So that's also an advantage.
Vikranji, now just a question relating to your public issue. Now you all will be going public for the first time, after having worked 20 years as an independent private company, what is your message to the shareholders? Because I was seeing the valuation at which you are offering shares to the public. It's a very attractive valuation, and I think investors who become shareholders in your company will definitely get a massive reward once it gets listed. But from your perspective as a promoter, you have done a great job. You have established a very good business. What is the message which you would like to give to shareholders for the longer term? At next 2 to 3 years, what kind of growth can this company offer to the shareholders?
It's a good question, and I would always be positively and optimistic, but I would also back up it with some data, because we definitely see there is a huge growth and there is a huge potential with working capital and other areas being available now. We will be able to exploit the opportunities which are available, and we will definitely make sure there is a growth. I have a team, I proudly say, out of 50% of our team has been with me for more than 15 years. So that shows that credibility in our company and in our whole team of leadership which we have, that people like to work here and they like to stick to us. So similarly, we would want to extend that to our shareholders also, that they stick to us for a longer period, and they definitely would have an exponential growth which we see, and they will be also rewarded with that. And we assure you that that this will definitely happen, because there is enough pipeline and we are recession proof. We don't have all our eggs in one basket. We have it spread across very, very nicely, and every domain or every pillar of our business has so much of potential of becoming an individual company altogether by itself. Software development can become its a company by itself. Training can become corporate training can become a company by itself. Digital learning can become a company by itself. Manpower can become a company by itself. So we have everything clubbed together. We have consolidated everything. So I don't see any reason not do an exponential growth, and the shareholders would definitely be benefited, because we also have the team to make sure that the exponential growth is being captured. If we don't have the right team, and if there are opportunities, there is money available, but we cannot make sure to convert it into bigger margins. But the team being available and we being into training, so even if we have to scale up, we have the engine available, so we can hire people, we can train them internally and put them through. So everything is in place, and my shareholders will definitely be very, very happy to
Fine.
be part of
I
Vinsys.
think very, very well articulated. Vikranji, my last question to you is that in every business, there is some risk attached. So very briefly, if you can tell us, what could be the risk, which is the single most, concern for our company? Of course, by God's grace, everything is going fine, but there are always some risks in the business. So, what is the kind of risk which you think can come and have a little negative kind of, development on our company's growth plans? If you could tell us, and how are you very well positioned to take care of that risk, because risk mitigation is also very important.
Sure, sure. So as I said, that's why I said we've consolidated everything, and as I said that we are recession proof. And there are very few people who would say that boldly, that we are recession proof, because that is a big statement.
Yeah,
But I still have said it because I know that we've seen all the recessions, and because we had a diverse portfolio, one or the other gets, because in post COVID, our online training started happening, because our classroom training was stopped. Similarly, our software development team created a lot of products during that time. So every recession, some of the other division might have an issue, but there is a backup plan which is already there. The other division definitely do. Location is something which we have already increased our location, so we are not restricted to only one country. So that's our big advantage. But yes, there are few risks wherein if there are small government policies which might change, that can affect our software development team.
yeah.
That can happen, but that's where I said we mitigated it by having a strong training division. And right now, with this IPO, we would definitely have enough funds, and we will consolidate all our 4 pillars so much that we mitigate all our coming in the future. So I'm very happy that we are in a very good situation.
Anyway, I think thank you very much, Vikranji, for this wonderful interaction with you. And I think I would like to wish you, your entire management team, and best wishes for your company's IPO. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we need all your support and all your prayers. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.